Hello, welcome to this podcast. My name is Beatrice Marse. I am a singer-songwriter from France. So, this podcast is a follow-up to the last one I did on the title was "Show Your Work to the World." Now, I'm about to say something, and I know I'm not going to please a lot of people by what I'm saying, but I'm old now and I'm getting used to it. Look, you can see my gray hair and everything, my white hair, so my hair are turning gray, so you know, I've lived a little. And I'm gonna knock on the door of social media and all those social media gurus and everything. So if you've been listening to my last podcast, Show Your Work to the World, that was his name, I've been talking about that book called The Long Tail, written by Chris Anderson. And the principle of the long tail is saying that, now I need to rephrase it, but the thing is to say that what really makes you money is not necessarily something which is a bestseller, something which is very successful. It's very more likely what makes you the most of money, because these are just like peak, momentaneous peak that will not last that will not last in time, if you understand what I'm saying. So what makes you in the long term, what makes you money, it's to refer to it's the old the things that people did not forget about and want to have again in their hand for a book or listen to for the music. So it's the whole thing that makes you money, real money. Okay, when it comes to sales, it's the same thing. When it comes to a book, if you take the example of Amazon, of course it may look a little bit silly to have so many books, but in the Amazon business, the combination of a seller, all those books one at a time, maybe one a week or one a month or 12 a year, okay, or 24 a year. That if those type of books selling maybe 24 times a year, if there's something like 1 million of them or like 6 of them, or well, you understand what I'm saying. This is where this is where the money is coming from, really. This is the idea behind the long term. So why am I talking about that? And if you've been listening to the old podcast, am I talking about something totally different? No, I'm not actually talking about something totally different. I'm not presenting in a different way, really. I just want you to make the parallel, like I did when I read that book, and suddenly I understood everything. And I remember I had recorded a French podcast, and I was saying, what was I saying in that podcast? Now I keep forgetting. I had the idea in my mind, and now I've forgotten what my train of thought. Okay, so yeah, so the main thing, it's in the long tail. It's what's around. It's what the most important for you in terms of money is to make money. Is what gonna last in time. It's not what's happening at this very moment. Okay, what is speaking at this very moment, the huge amount of money you can make, it's really what will happen in time. So if you take, as I say, I'm gonna repeat myself, if you take that hit from today, making $1 million, the interesting thing about that $1 million hit is not the $1 million that you're gonna earn right now, but the $1 million you're gonna earn again within a certain period of time in the future. Basically, that's what it is. And then I realized all those social media guru and everything. And then I remember about reading all those psychology books I've read before, and me being in a work environment, and me teaching stuff to people, and interacting with people who are teaching like me and telling me certain things. And then when I read that book, I said to myself, of course, I'll see of me, of course. And the idea, so why am I referring to social media and all those gurus? The truth is, all those people, so are they honest, are they dishonest? I leave it up to you. That's what I can say. It's up to you. Everyone's got an ethic, some ethics, some moral next to, well. So I leave it up to you. Honest or dishonest is, I leave it up to you. What those people know when they are selling you courses is that, of course, there's the MOFO thing, the fear of missing out, okay? But what they know is that it's close to 90%. And when I say 90%, I think I'm being kind of generous, because I think we can go up to 95%. And when I actually do believe that 99% of the people who are buying those courses are gonna do nothing with what they bought. Not because they don't want to. It's very subtle in a way. It's just that you want to do something because you want to go a little bit better, but then you're not really ready to make a change, a real change, a deep change in your life. Or then you realize that it's going to take you much more work and you're not willing to do the work right now. Then you're going to buy that thing, you're going to go through that thing, but you aren't going to get any result. And then because the onus is on you, and because the way you thinking, it's very, very unlikely that you will get a refund. Of course, those gurus, they have to respond to refund demands, but compared to what it could be, is next to nothing. It's just like you take a chance, and really, as far as I'm concerned, I think we really down to 99%. Honestly, that's the way I look at the thing. And out of the 99%, I would say maybe 1% will ask you for a refund. So basically, you've made the money, you've done the course, regardless what's inside it. You've earned the money. It's the same with all those Facebook ads and Instagram ads and Google ads or whatever ads. It's the same thing. Which is true is that, to me, and it's only the way I look at things, okay, is that 99% of people buying ads are not gonna get their return on investment. That's what I can say. To me, it's only a small percentage, very few who actually work hard. They know the thing, they know the business, they have an history of making money, so they know what they are doing. And yes, their ROI is going to be very, very high. For the rest, the 99% is basically lost money. Here again, those companies are making the money out of the 99%, not the 1% who are doing well. And here again, it's human nature. It's nothing you can say it's honest, it's dishonest, but it's human nature. It's real life. This is how it goes. That's the way. Wait, I'm not gonna sing, because otherwise I'm gonna have any problem with because as usual, I'm recording this podcast and I'm gonna put that video on my YouTube channel. So yeah, so that's the way it is. So what I'm saying is, those companies, they're making almost 99% of their revenue, knowing that people are buying their product, but they won't get any result. They are inciting people to buy their products, knowing that anyway they won't get any results. So it's just like me wanting to actually advertise my music, market my music, and not knowing what my audience is. Unfortunately, and fortunately for those companies, many people will do that. You got some music, you're gonna advertise for it. You don't know what your audience is. You don't know your audience, and you actually spending money almost for nothing. You need to be deliberate, elaborate a plan to actually spend the money wisely, so you can get a good ROI out of the money you spend. But here again, what I'm saying is that 99% of the people, it is not the case. They're actually losing money. And those companies, they know that, and they're making a living somehow out of that. So, and as I say, honest, dishonest, I leave it up to you to put a label on this. But what I'm saying to you, it's human nature. Most people want to do things, but they are not prepared to go all the way down the road to achieve what they really want. And when they realize right on the first step that it's going to be a bit more difficult, at least 50% of the people are going to drop out of the journey, and then you go on to the next difficulty, and over another 50% of the rest is going to drop out. And then that's how, to me, I go up to the 1%. The very few will achieve, and the very few that will actually get the return on investment. That's what I can say. So it's a game. It's a game we play, and it's a game played everywhere. It's the same. So I'm talking about social media, but I could actually, talk about the shop. When you're in a shop, that a supermarket, yes, makes some money out of the food, but there are other departments in the supermarket. So the other department are making not as much money, maybe, when you look at it in terms of, if you compare it to a food department. But if you aggregate all the sales from all of the departments compared to the food department, it may be that the figure is even equal to, or maybe greater than, the food department. So here again, it's different thing. It depends. Okay, every case is different, but that's the theory behind it, and it's the theory beyond the long tail, is that you need to acknowledge, to identify the different department that will allow you to make money in the long term. Keep making money in the long term. And of course, it's the thing is, your job is made easy when you identify your it, as I was saying in the last podcast, because then the it is going to be anchored in the mind of many people, and then those people will grow old, especially if you're talking about a teenage population. These people are going to grow old, and they will want to go back in time and experience the music they were listening to when they were younger. It's the story about the food industry trying to promote product to young people, because we know, as if you hook people up on things when they are young, they are more likely to keep doing the same thing when they actually grow older. So basically, it's like you hook it up, so you guarantee yourself an income for the future. So that's what the long tail is about. So, and to come back to social media, and I remember now what I was saying in my French podcast. I was talking about courses. Everyone wanted to do courses. And I was saying that at the time, because it was between quotes, my heydays, when Microsoft was starting to actually become very worldwide renowned, and when they started to actually do some of those Microsoft courses. And I realized at the time, I haven't read that book, The Long Tail, but what I thought when I was just when it came up to me is that Microsoft at the time must have made millions, billions of dollars out of courses, and basically I reckon that the oversell were much lower than the money they were making out of the courses, because at the time everyone wanted to go on a Microsoft courses, just spreadsheet, Word and everything, Excel, well, you name it. And all those programming languages, they were like selling. Everyone wanted to go on a course. You had to get certified, and when you wanted to get you had to get certified to get a job, a good job, and everyone wanted, and those things was costing, well, a lot of money. So I reckon at that time Microsoft made a lot of money. So that's when, yeah, and when I read that book, like just before the end of the year, by the end of 2019, I can't remember which month, but it was by the end of 2019. Of course, I said, as soon as I was turning the page, and I keep up saying, of course, it's human nature, of course, just riding, in fact it's just riding the wave. And to come back to social media gurus or social media influencers, whatever, some of them are honest and some of them are dishonest, but for some of them it's difficult. If you don't understand the philosophy behind it, it's difficult to. It's kind of for some of them they are in some type of gray area, gray matter, where you don't know which way you need to go: honest, dishonest, honest, dishonest. But the thing is, all those gurus, they know that you can fill up a stadium of 100,000 people because only maybe 10,000. Maybe 1,000 you will actually get ROI out of what you actually selling between quotes, or what you are selling them to experience. Okay, and they know that you know that when you sell something, that most of the people, even if they buy your product, it will amount to nothing except the fact that you will have already cashed up the money. And then what's happening after the person is buying your product? Well, really, the person will not let you know. The very few will let you know in a bad way, and they will ask you for a refund. And there's another to the other extreme of the spectrum. You will have a successful one who will tell you, well, thank you for doing that thing. You made a real change in my life, and without you I couldn't have done it. I was inspired by you. So you got those two extremes, and then you got the 90%, more than 90% in the middle, and that's where the money is. So is it manipulation? Don't know. Honesty, dishonest, I don't know. But this is human nature, and once you know that it's true, it just changes things. And it's true that, well, all those social media, and the thing is, any app, anything, it just, to me, if it just like somehow just enticing you to spend more and more with them, because we know, as long as you can give someone a reason to spend the money with you, once the money is spent, you're just fine. Knowing that behind it, you can promise for talking about gurus, you can have a lot of you can make a lot of promises, okay, but that very few people will stick around to maybe confront you and say, well, what you were saying was, well, it didn't work for me, and it was false promises. Yes. To me, it was a false promise. So very few people will do that. So now in this area of fake gurus and everything, and I've also subscribed to another channel called CoffeeZilla, and there's another one called Micronet, which is kind of interesting. They are like trying to out the fake gurus. So yeah, it's very interesting, because now we are in an era where people are talking about saying, well, this guy look what he's doing. It's not like it's not good, is it? It's not really good, is it? So people like are saying, yes, I've been conned. Yeah, it was a scam. I've been scammed. But well, human nature. It's all about human nature. And it's true that some people, well, what I'm saying, some people, most of us, we want something, we're dying to do something, we're dying, yeah, we want to do better with our life. And those people understand that if we can play with those emotions, then they will manage to actually get money out of us. That's what I can say. So that's it for me. So I wanted to, yeah, because I felt like in the previous podcast I did explain some things, but I did not go where I wanted to go. And with this podcast, I did go to the place I wanted to go and to make the point I wanted to make. So it's I mean, you may disagree with what I have to say. If you do disagree with me, please leave a comment underneath the video. It's not a problem, and we can discuss about the subject, you know. But what I'm saying, it's all about life, and if you want to know more about it, I will really encourage you. I'm not paid to actually to talk about that book, but the long tail is explain a lot of things. There's another book I was mentioning in the previous podcast called The Compound Effect, and really I would advise you to read any books from Dan Ariely, and you will understand what I'm saying. I think I haven't read most of his books, but the main one, the most I've read them. He's talking about human nature and the way people react, and it will explain to you what's happening on the internet and what's happening in social media, and why those companies are making a lot of money with their apps and the services they offer, because you know it's all about surfing on human nature. And now, no, I haven't got the corona, whatever. I haven't got the virus. It's just that I've been talking too much. And I'm going to leave it that way. And I want to thank you for listening to me. I'll see you the next time. You'll see me the next time. I don't know when, but it's going to be soon, I know. Yeah, I realized that for past 2 days that I need to talk about my next album. I don't know when I'm going to release it, so I'm going to talk about it in the next podcast. Till then, thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.